I just happened to turn to the girl and I said, how much is this one again? She's like, $2,300. I'm like, okay, right on. So it was like the most expensive one. But it's
are you sure that she's not wrapped up in big apnea? Because this seems like there's
so.
like she might be in cahoots, and it seems like you've been led down the rabbit hole.
Guys, this is the best investigative journalism we've ever done.
You feel like you can't sleep without it.
I don't know if this is sick boy worthy or not, but I just saw this headline. Someone DM'd me this on Instagram today, and I was like, this is definitely something that would work for Turn Me On, but I feel like it could also fit for sick boy, especially for a Feel Good Friday. So are you guys ready for some good quality FGF content?
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Make me feel good, Daddy.
This is coming from the New York Post, so very reputable indeed. The title of this article: Emergency crew.
They launched the Biden emails, I think.
Emergency crew rescues sex doll after mistaking it for a drowning woman.
Sorry, what? Rescued a sex doll?
Emergency crew rescues a sex doll after mistaking it for a drowning woman. I'm going to start with this image. Now, if you were walking down the pier,
and
you saw that, would you be like,
So at first, I pictured the sex doll as like the typical like blow up dolls with like the surprise faces.
Well, I mean, for folks that can't see this, that part of the mouth in the photo here of the drowning doll is facing the ocean floor.
But
so
even
you see
those,
the seabed.
like I'm just looking at this. I'm looking at this picture from pretty far away, and like that picture. It doesn't look like one of the typical inflatable surprise.
You know what it looks like?
It looks like a pretty legit like mannequin, like full body mannequin.
The one that they were, the ones that they were using at the Korean soccer games.
It looks like a real life sex toy, a real life sex doll, which is
like
a brand,
real looking one.
Yeah, well, it's a brand of sex dolls, and they're quite.
Oh, the brand is real life
sex dolls, and they're like $1,700. They are not cheap, but
what's somebody doing losing theirs in the ocean?
I mean,
that's a good question.
If you divide that by per use, then it's not that bad.
It's not that bad. They issued an SOS, Save Our Sex Doll. Hey-oh, look out. A team of emergency rescue divers was flummoxed after responding to the scene of a nude, drowning woman, only to discover that it was actually a floating life-size sex doll. The uproarious gaffe was chronicled on Twitter by YouTuber Natsuki Tanaka, who had initially believed she was witnessing a real-life rescue in the city of Hachino off of Japan's northeast coast, Kotaku reported. Here's an image of the rescue happening.
oh my God.
Oh, that's sad looking.
If you want to
wait, hold on. I don't understand why it ended up being a full-fledged rescue. Like, did somebody just not go,
well,
hey, did somebody just call somebody? I called the rescue thing and said there's a woman in the water. Did no one go in to just try and pick her out of the water? Like, I feel like if I thought that there was a woman in the water, I would jump in and be like,
if you saw that,
time is of the essence.
If you saw that, you would think time is of the essence. If I saw this,
that person looks pretty dead.
Yeah, folks, if you want to see what we're looking at, go over to YouTube. Check out Sick Boy on YouTube. All of our Feel Good Friday episodes are now there. If I saw this in the water, 100%, I would be like, oh no.
The urgency is immediately gone.
It's gone
with the way especially because like obviously,
and you've got a compromised immune system.
Obviously, it looked lifeless because. It was lifeless.
It was,
right?
It was lifeless.
Hey, wait, guys, let's just hypothesize for a minute. How do you think that got there?
Well, it's as you know, I know quite a few men who work out at sea, and it's a lonely place, a lonely time out there. So on a cargo ship, there's not a shore in sight. And you're left to your own devices sometimes.
But you definitely don't lose, so imagine you're in a cargo ship and you're having sex with your sex doll. You're likely, unless you're like an exhibitionist, you're probably
doing it in your bunk.
In your room, right?
In your bunk,
I imagine that maybe on this ship in particular, they had one doll that they shared. And because
oh my God.
This isn't. I don't like where you're going with this.
So So maybe it was one person's turn and somebody else thought it was supposed to be theirs. So they got in a fight over it and they were like pulling it back and forth, tugging on it, not tugging on it the way that they should have been. And they accidentally, it slipped and went overboard and then days later washed up on shore.
No, you know what? You know what that hypothesis falls through is that if that is the only thing that a bunch of seamen can fuck at sea, they going in to get it.
What if someone was walked in on and they were really embarrassed and they were like, "Oh, I just have to get rid of it." That to me seems like a likely scenario. But sex dolls just get left in weird places. Like one of my friend's dads used to be the head of security at like a pretty upscale chain of hotels, and one day a woman
Quality Inn.
bit better than that. So the one day a woman went into the room, a room with her children, and the kids were just playing around. And then they found
I thought it was a dead hooker in the mattress, but really it was just a doll.
They found a hand under the bed, and then they pulled the sex doll out. And then
it's like that scene that was a reference to a scene from the movie 4 Rooms. Which is a wonderful film, if I might add.
Imagine
it was an actual real life.
And it was the Fatty Patty sex doll.
Let's just stay on this for like another 5 minutes.
I really don't know.
Imagine that they were on. There was a husband and wife on a cruise ship.
Why did I add this story to the?
She was the only third they could get.
There was a husband and a wife on a cruise ship, and no, he was fucking the sex doll, and she walked in, and he panicked, and he threw it out the window, and she thought it was a real person for the entire rest of the cruise, and he was trying to say it was a doll.
Well, he owned up. He was like it was a person. He was like I'd rather cop to murder than my wife find out that I was fucking this plastic doll.
To your point there, Taylor, why would they go ahead with the rescue? My guess is that the influencer, the YouTube influencer, she has 272,000 subscribers on YouTube who came across this. It wasn't just her. It was a number of people that were on the boardwalk. They saw this body. A number of people called 911 or whatever the equivalent is over in Japan. And of course, the rescue services showed up. I don't think they're going to show up, see that, and go, "Oh, that is a sex doll." I think this is the moment where they go, "Oh, that's a sex doll."
I got to the
She's
bottom
so
of
long.
It. I got to the bottom of it. It was the influencer. The influencer just coincidentally happened to be there. Dude, this was a Nightcrawler-esque scene.
Oh, you're right.
She planted it, or they planted it, and
a little further into the article. It's unclear how the blow-up doll ended up in the water. Perhaps the once devoted doll lover finally got fed up with his silicone soulmate. However, another Twitter user who also documented the bizarre rescue chalked it up to the illegal dumping of oversized trash, which is unsupervising, giving Japan's stringent laws concerning garbage disposal. So I guess what they're saying there is there's like an issue with illegal dumping. And someone had thrown out their sex doll the way that one should, just throwing it into the trash outside, and then it ended up in a giant garbage heap, which was then pushed into the harbor.
That's sad, man, because the sex doll got dumped, but to call it illegal dumping makes it feel even worse. That's
a bad dump. Yeah, that's a really bad dump.
Oh man,
that's a bad bite. Well, thanks for that, Jer. I really appreciate this. That was a great.
Wait, hold on. The last paragraph.
We're still going.
Thankfully, one Japanese company has devised a more tasteful, eco-friendly way to put one's inflatable paramours out to pasture by throwing them a funeral, complete with candles, undertakers, and even mourning mannequins. So there you go.
That's good. Those things should be burned when they're done being used.
Was that a part of the same story?
Yeah. It's the New York Post. They're coming in with the
so
good
there's
shit.
there's a company cremating sex dolls in Japan.
Oh my God, stop. There's another New York Post article where the headline is "Artist Hosts Sex Doll Funerals for Heartsick Owners." There was a real need.
Oh, that breaks my heart. Yeah. Let's move on to something that is much more sick boy focused, much more in the realm of what we typically talk about here on this podcast.
No, that was pretty much in the realm of what we typically talk about.
That was in the realm for sure. This is a little bit. This is even more so in the realm. Phillips Phillips, the electronics company, they have recalled their sleep apnea machine ventilators over cancer risk.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, this is kind of big news, and this was sent to me by our resident CPAP professional, Donovan.
D. Morgs.
Yeah, D. Morgan, the man who mixes all of our Monday episodes. He sent me this article. Basically, medical device makers Phillips is recalling sleep apnea machines and ventilators containing foam that could put users at risk of cancer or other health issues. The Dutch company announced a U.S. recall for millions of units of the Phillips bi-level positive airway pressure, bi-level PAP, continuous positive airway pressure, CPAP, and mechanical ventilator devices. Most of them are Dream Station products, which that actually sounds like a pretty rad fucking video game console.
I see exactly what you're doing here. I know that you got sleep apnea and you've been neglecting to use your machine or anything.
I have been.
This makes you feel good. This makes you feel better about yourself.
Hey man,
because now it's an excuse to not use it even harder than you've already been not using it.
Neglect isn't the right word for Jeremy's Jeremy's response to his horrific sleep apnea. Dude, Jeremy was like, they were like, we couldn't even quantify your sleep apnea. It's that bad.
And
it's so off the scale sleep apnea. And Jared was like, I really don't think I need it. I don't think I need it.
It is off the charts, and I haven't been using it. I used it for a bit. It was
how long?
I used it for probably like a good. I tried like 3 or 4 months, but it really was hard to get rest. I think I truly think I was getting more rest being fully apneaed up than I was getting the CPAP.
You're going to get a lot of rest when you end up dying early from sleep apnea rather than CF.
Amen. The defect is related to the polyester-based polyurethane sound abatement foam in the device. A sound abatement foam, which I don't really know what that means.
Sound abatement would be like getting rid of the sound. So it's like the sound muffler or whatever that's in it.
Sure, right. Okay, I see.
Yeah.
Phillips said there have been no reports of deaths yet, but it acknowledged the potential risks of particulate exposure, including, quote, headache, irritation, inflammation, respiratory issues, and possible toxic and carcinogenic effects. Now, here's the reason why I stopped using my CPAP machine. I was getting crazy headaches. I was just like super irritated, lots of inflammation all over my body. I have respiratory issues as well. Could have been the CF, but who knows? Could have been the toxic carcinogenic shit. I was inhaling every fucking night with that thing strapped to my face. It is also noted, quote, the potential risks of chemical exposure due to off-gassing include all those things: headache, irritation, hypersensitivity, nausea and vomiting, and possible carcinogenic effects. Phillips has received no reports regarding patient impact related to chemical emissions. The company said it will replace the current sound abatement foam with a new material. I mean, so this made me think about, how a few weeks back we read that Aaron Brockovich article about all the plastics, like the forever plastics that are essentially everywhere.
PFAs or
something like that. And it's basically nuking our sperm. Like it's just nerfing all the sperm across the planet. And they are, according to the data, they are speculating that if we continue on the trend that we've been on since 1970, we're going to see a decline in sperm rate to the point of 0% sperm rate.
Yeah, like straight children of men
in 2045.
It's pretty wild. I've been getting fed these Instagram ads for testosterone boosters, and the guys are like, these are the lowest levels of testosterone in the last hundreds of years. People now, men now are producing testosterone at the level of men that are supposed to be on average 10 years or 20 years older than them. But and it sounds like really like clickbait, like not clickbaity, but like gimmicky. Like they just want me to buy testosterone boosters.
Yeah.
But
do you hear that on Rogan?
True though, right?
But you're like, they're right.
Rogan.
And those guys were like, and those guys were also like, they were sweating and they were turning red and they were visibly actually losing their they were like getting male pattern baldness while they were yelling
their
this at you.
Veins were like pumping out of their heads and like swelling.
Yeah. I mean,
you could see their testicles shrinking.
That was kind of true.
To that point, though, Bri, like it doesn't matter. It doesn't fucking matter how much testosterone in the world you have. If that's not going to change your this issue with the plastics.
Well,
right?
yeah. Plus, also, you probably shouldn't just be taking more testosterone as a solution. Like that. Like that doesn't do anything. Artificially giving yourself more testosterone. Like, how does that help? It doesn't, right?
I mean, if
With
you're
sperm?
if
I have no
as you
idea.
age and you lose testosterone, it's not a bad thing.
I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but like it doesn't fix the bigger problem.
Yeah.
Right. Like why are levels of testosterone going down? Because it's true that they are. Like I think
that's a natural part of aging.
No, I'm like, so levels of testosterone in men age 40 are like significantly lower now in 2021 than they were in 1980. For example,
I see.
They're like T levels are decreasing.
I know. We all know why. We know why. It's
5G.
No, it's because we're just raising a bunch of soy boys. You know?
Yeah, you know what?
Bunch of fucking vegan.
Who came along in the
boys.
80s? Who came along in the 80s and then became very prevalent in the 90s and made his fortune
Osho
around the 2000s?
Yeah,
I was
it's
thinking
'cause,
someone
frankly,
more like B. Gates.
I frankly think that there's too many men doing yoga out there.
That's it. That is the problem.
That's the problem.
Phillips was quoted saying, "We deeply regret any concern and inconvenience that patients using the affected devices will experience because of the proactive measures we are announcing today to ensure patient safety," which was said by the CEO of Phillips, Frans van Holten, on Monday in a statement. "In consultation with the relevant regulatory agencies and in close collaboration with our customers and partners, we are working hard towards a resolution, which includes the development of the updated instructions for use and a comprehensive repair and replacement program for the affected devices." It's wild. Like, okay, so we hear about recalls all the time. And these, like cars will get recalled because like the hinge on your door isn't up to snuff. So like, bring your car back and we'll put the different hinge on the door. Like those kinds of things, like you hear it and you go,
killed a bunch of monkeys in the process of making your car and doing the EPA testing, like that type of thing.
But okay, so good example, right? So that what you're referring to, Tay, can you elaborate? Because you're actually referring to something that actually is for real.
My car was actually on the list. Like my car is that car.
Wait, what happened? I don't know anything about this.
VW they basically had a thing in their car where they were getting around EPA testing, like environmental protection testing, with this.
This is really sad.
With this thing. That was in the car, this like piece of technology that was in the car, and I could be kind of butchering this, but it was basically giving a false reading of how environmentally friendly the like emissions were from the car, and this was on a series of the car from like I want to say like late 2000s to 2014 or 2015 or something like that. And then it came out, and then so on the road, your car actually wasn't nearly as emissions efficient or fuel efficient as the claim was. Right. And so the real levels were like far above what like what a lot of environmental regulatory agencies allowed for. And then it came out. It came out as a story, and I think I can't remember if it got busted wide open on Dirty Money on the Netflix series.
That was where I watched all of this.
And then it also came out that they were gassing chimps with they were putting chimps in a chamber and like running the gas fumes into the into the chamber.
Look,
and
Lauren loves it.
It was really fucking horrible. Yeah.
Lauren loves this shit.
Lauren was like, that's so cute.
That's so cute.
Tell me more, please.
Yeah. Hey, so that example, right, Tay? That is an example of like a recall scenario that sort of sort of in a sense that it's like that's mind blowing. Mm-hmm. Something like this, I find also pretty mind blowing. That like millions of CPAP machines are out there, millions of these people are using this every single night, and with the risk of fucking getting blasted full of cancer that's a fucking big deal. And so
I mean, like this type of thing happens to companies all the time. Like recalls generally happen because it's something like this, because it's not something that you can just go, oh, it's like a fault, like it's like a faulty, aspect of this product. Recalls happen when it's safety related. Yeah. That's like what necessitates a recall. And so it's like, this batch of, there's stuff here all the time with groceries where food, they'll say like, this batch of produce, like if you bought produce at X store,
all the time.
Yeah. So they recall that because it's like, there's a bacteria on it or whatever.
Well, speaking of recalls and speaking of people that have been affected by this recall, this Phillips CPAP recall, I want to take a second to bring into the fold here none other than Donovan the CPAP Morgan.
Yes!
Donovan. What up, dog?
Because our homeboy Donovan, he actually has one of these CPAPs.
A Phillips machine? Fuck.
He's got a Phillips machine.
I do.
Oh no, dude.
I do.
Tell us about it, dude.
So wait, dude. Do you have cancer then now, and not just sleep apnea?
I do. And what I'm hoping is maybe you guys can book me on maybe in the next couple of months.
You were in cahoots with Phillips, weren't you? This is all a plot.
This is a brand deal.
Yeah. Big Apnea. It's part of Big Apnea.
This is it. Yeah, Big Apnea.
I knew it.
Messed up. It's
Bill Gates is involved.
So what happened is I just happened to follow this YouTuber that there we go. There's my face. There we go. My laptop's all screwed up. There we go. Fancy. What happened is there was a YouTuber that I followed when I first got my mask. The guy's named Lanky Lefty. He's like just this guy. He's got a couple thousand followers.
Lanky Lefty.
He's like kind of cheesy. He's a charming dude. He's just, I don't know, he's fun. But that's any information I wanted about sleep apnea. I would go there. I would go to his page and I would check him out.
Yeah.
And I haven't watched him in forever. And just literally 4 days ago, it came up in my feed, and he said it was something about like Phillips recall. I'm angry or something like that. So I checked it out, and apparently the news just came through last week, maybe Monday, that Phillips, all of their machines, everything that wasn't constructed this year with their brand new DreamStation machine, and there's one other machine I think they made last year that was in transition, all of them are recalled. So
only new ones that are good, but it's like everything before is bad,
right?
And like, and CPAP machines are supposed to last, like, you get a CPAP machine, you're like, I'm gonna fucking sit on this motherfucker for years,
Well, it's supposed to be this is the thing this is why I'm justifying buying a new machine. If every 5 years you're supposed to replace it. So I mean, it's an expensive purchase. They're anywhere from like $1,000 to $2,500, something like that. But I mean, it's so you don't die in your sleep. It's worth it.
Yeah. But, especially the DreamStation. I mean, just that name alone, like it does sound like a cool gaming console, but it also does sound like the Cadillac version of sleep apnea machines.
They made the new DreamStation 2. It looks like an iPhone. It's like this super sleek thing with one button. Nice. Like, hey Siri, up my my power and my mask. Like it's really weird. But the problem
put me to sleep.
Just injection to just put some nice gas into your mask, the non-carcinogenic kind. But the problem with this is announced this the week before they announced their brand new system. So this new system that they're pushing, it apparently doesn't have the same problems, but it's a little crappy that they did that. They basically waited to the last possible minute. They knew about this forever.
This is big CPAP. This is a fucking conspiracy.
Wait. So but with the recall, is there not some type of like rebate or money back or something if they were like, hey, we're putting potentially cancerous carcinogens in your body? Like,
right.
Like, is it not a good time for you? Like, hey, the new Cadillac version's coming out. I'm going to get a bit of a rebate from this recall. And now this machine that was going to be super expensive is now affordable. I just might have cancer too.
Right. So downside. Yeah. But I looked at it to see how many Phillips systems were in circulation in North America. And it's in the vicinity of like 5 million.
Whoa.
So that means that 5 million people right now have gone to the website, crashed it numerous times, putting their serial numbers in, like I did. And you get a notification saying, we got your address. We're going to send you a box. You put it in the box, send it to us. We're going to repair it and then send it back to you. But the problem is they just don't have the infrastructure, the company, to handle 5 million returns all at once. A lot of people are going to go without CPAP for a long time. And the worst part about this is that they announced if you need a CPAP, I don't know, I'm sure if you guys know the difference between a CPAP and a BiPAP and an AutoCAP or whatever.
Oh yeah, we know the difference of all of them. It's like locked in. We're pretty fucking
common knowledge.
Yeah.
Just maybe give us a quick overview.
Yeah. Okay. So a regular CPAP, what it basically does is it gives you constant pressure. So there's pressure going into the mask. You inhale, and when you exhale, there's a valve that makes your exhale go out the other direction.
Right.
A BiPAP, the pressure changes when you actually exhale. So like there's a way that kind of like a BiPAP is a bit more for people that have trouble. Like if you have a more serious case of apnea, you would get a BiPAP. The AutoCAP is the same kind of thing.
Jared needs.
Jared probably needs.
Yeah, I mean, Jared actually doesn't think that anybody who has sleep apnea needs a CPAP or a BiPAP or any type of PAP because he doesn't. Because
the world's just full of.
He's an anti-apnea.
Yeah, and I'm not a fucking soy boy. You know, I'm not some weak soy boy who does yoga.
Team Joe Rogan. Team Joe Rogan all the way. Joe Rogan doesn't fuck with the CPAP.
Fuck no. Yeah, he's a man.
I mean, Jerry uses kettlebells, so like he doesn't need a CPAP.
That's right. I drop a kettlebell on my face right before I go to sleep, knocks me out. That's how I fucking sleep.
Alpha brain. Yeah,
so these people that have to return they're going to have to go without an apnea machine for the longest time,
right?
Until they get them back. And they say right in the statement, it says you are either if you have a mild case of apnea, you can go without it for a while. If you have a more serious case of apnea, continue using the machine.
Okay, so interesting. Very interesting. Now, here's something that I learned while I was doing my test for my apnea machine, which was the woman had, the data was going through to the sleep clinic. And I went in after, it was like maybe 2 weeks of use. And I was talking to her about the machine, and she was like, I was like, what if I go on tour with the guys? This is when I was thinking about actually using it. Before I just decided to man up.
And I turn it on, and they're just like, Jared, that's so fucking loud. And we got mad, and they didn't want you to use it.
So I said to her, I was like, what if I went on tour and like I was gone for like 2-3 weeks, and
I get bullied,
and I just didn't use it. I didn't bring it because I don't want to use the fucking machine. And she was like, well, that's okay. And she goes, actually, it's not super common, but sometimes people who have been using it for a long time and then stop notice that their apnea, it's like you almost train yourself out of it. And so
I don't snore anymore at all.
Right.
Really?
There we go.
Here's the deal. When I first, however long ago it was when I was on the show for apnea, and it was like when I first got it, I was first using the machine is when I was first getting used to what it felt like to breathe. Everything was a little bit awkward. But after a couple of months of using it, the back of my throat that was inflamed because I was snoring just went back to normal. And like literally like every once in a while I'll sit up with my son and he'll be watching Minecraft videos and I'll lay down the couch. He'll sit down, he'll put his hand on the top of my head and I'll pass out instantly. There's something about some kind of dad connection that when a kid touches you, when you're on the couch, you go to sleep, you feel safe. I don't know what it is.
It's like when you draw a line in front of a chicken and it just
it won't cross the
gets
line.
hypnotized.
There's some magic in there that they don't understand. So I pass out.
Same thing.
I wake up and I ask him, like, was I snoring? Because I can feel that I stopped breathing.
Right.
But he's like, no, you don't snore anymore. So I literally don't snore anymore. If you use it for a while, that's why I think I can go a couple of days without it. I don't really want to. Generally speaking, now it's like a ritual. When I put the mask on, I'm out. Like I could come in from running the marathon and be in up, and I put the mask on and I'm just out. But you don't really need to use it. But the thing is a lot of people really do need it.
Yeah.
And if they don't have coverage, they have to straight up buy a new machine.
And it's not cheap.
No. Well, interestingly enough, I called the store that deals with that in my town. And the girl that works there is really great, super, super nice, super helpful. And I mean, I felt bad because I was given a machine that was not used and saved myself thousands of dollars. And they knew that, but they still helped me out. Like I bought a mask from them and stuff. But like, they help you out so that you buy a machine. That's how the business works. So I feel like I owe her one. So this week when this happened, I messaged her and I said, look, there's this recall. I definitely need to get another machine. So she said, okay, well, why don't you come in and I'll just give you a machine. You can keep it for a bit. And then when you want to buy one, you come in and we'll talk about it. So I did. And I went in and I told them I didn't want all these features. Like, oh, yeah. But, you know, these ones are really good. So I walked out and I just happened to turn to the girl and I said, how much is this one again? She's like, $2,300. I'm like, okay, right on. So it was like the most expensive one. But it's
are you sure that she's not wrapped up in big apnea? Because this seems like there's like she might be in cahoots, and it seems like you've been led down the rabbit hole.
Guys, this is the best investigative journalism we've ever done.
You feel like you can't sleep without it, and it feels like you gotta have it. You gotta have
what
it.
Sucks is, you know? As an aside, not to deviate too much, but all of the other companies like ResMed, all these other companies, they've all jacked their goddamn prices up online for their apnea masks now and their apnea machine. If they see the right ball. Now Phillips is going to lose market share. So like they're trying to gain that by selling their, like, I don't want a Phillips machine now. Like I definitely don't want a Phillips machine. I mean, the thing is it's a carcinogen. It's not like I don't have any of the symptoms, but when you see something like that and you see, there's a recall and you see Phillips, you're like, well, maybe I'm asymptomatic to whatever the fuck this is. But I mean, I kind of rolled through it.
Dude, I mean, look, I have a ResMed. And because when you told me about this, I was like, I better look, and it's a ResMed. Yeah. So, and look, I'm not gonna
dusted his off and got it out of the closet,
blew the dust off. Why don't you just take mine, dude? Why don't I just send you mine?
Oh, but you don't have to.
I'm telling you right now, Donovan, never going to use it.
He's never going to use it. He's never going to use it again.
Donovan, look under your seat. It's a ResMed.
Hey, Brian, look under your seat. Oh, fuck. Lauren, you look under your seat. Everybody got a ResMed.
But guys, I do have a real question about this because if like by the sounds of the article, it sounded like nobody has gotten sick yet or had any of the symptoms. And like, did I miss it? Did they say how they found out?
There already has
this?
been people. There has been. See, this is the part that's sinister as hell. They've known about this for 5 years.
Whoa.
Apparently, they've known about it for 5 years. And what they did is they said they've had a 0.03 complaint rate. That's what they use for the like their indicator on how many people have complained about it, which, I mean, honestly, 0.03 doesn't seem like a lot. But when you have 5 million machines, that's a lot of people.
0.03 people reached out and were like, I have a tumor in my throat.
But how does it matter at all what that complaint rate is? Because if somebody complains and says, hey, you're effectively giving us all poison, then you don't just like ignore it. If you take that complaint and you go and you look and you go, we are effectively giving them poison. But you don't go, let's just wait and see how many more people complain about it.
It could also be a turning point where they had to, where they basically.
I'm sure they had to do testing.
I'm speculating, but there could have been a thing where a component that's in these machines now is showing up on like a banned material list for the FDA or something like that. And all of a sudden they're like, fuck, that's in all of these machines. And it wasn't when we made it, but it is now. I'm totally speculating.
Yeah. Another thing that could have happened though, like governments regularly inspect consumer products like that. So it could have been that the government forced their hand. Like
it might be this is the thing. This is the reason why I don't feel so nervous about it. But apparently there is this a cleaner that you can get, and fucking Shatner slugs it out on like some kind of like shopping network, whatever. But what it's an ozone, like an ozone creator creates O3, and what you can do is you get an enclosed like container. You put the apnea mask in, all the other things. You put the ozone in it, and you let it sit. And the ozone will actually kill the bacteria.
Do we really know this? Do we really believe this?
Yeah, I was like sham wow.
It does absolutely nothing. It does nothing but degrade your machine. But they sell it that it actually does. And all of these companies say in their TOS, do not use an ozone cleaner. But what they're finding out now is this ozone cleaner might be the actual culprit that breaks down this foam. What it is actually, I should probably say what it is. There's a foam inside the machine that they use for noise reduction. It helps the thing from vibrating out of control. Now, the dummy thing that they did is that foam is exposed inside the place where they generate the power for the air inside the machine. There shouldn't be anything. It should be just hard plastic. But for some reason, this foam is inside there. And the ozone breaks it down, and it turns the foam into a particulate and a gas. And there's people that have been getting like respiratory problems, sinus problems, a myriad of them.
It sounds kind of like what's it called? Functional obsolescence. Is that what planned obsolescence? Yeah.
What's the show? I can't believe I'm gapping on it, but Tyler Durden, the Fight Club. Jesus Christ! In Fight Club, they talk about the guy works for the car company, and they try to figure out like whether it's worth going to the public with how many people died in a car accident. This is exactly the same situation. They've weighed it out.
Good reference to that movie as well, because that is a movie that is most certainly not for soy boys. So, Donovan, I want to say thank you, dude, for coming on and giving us a little bit of insight into the new news that you probably have cancer. It's just a matter of time. So when that happens, we'd love to have you back on the show, my man.
I'll be there for sure.
And until then, do not fall prey to big apnea.
That's right.
Donovan, we love you.
Yeah, we love you, buddy.
I love you guys too, man. It's really great seeing you too, Lauren. I haven't seen you in a while as well. You guys all be good.
Yeah. Take care, buddy. See you later.
See you, dude.
Bye.
See you, dude.
That was fun.
Donovan.
Yeah. Look, do you guys want to move into? I got one more little crazy article here before we get into what the health. This is. We've talked about, actually, it was not too long ago. We had Dr. Jen Gunter on, and one of the things we were talking about was like women's health and the issue with women's, like the misogyny within health research. And I mean, 6 years of this podcast, we've heard, how many times have we heard from females on the show where, they go and they talk to their doctor and they just like aren't heard the way that they, their male counterparts are heard. Females get the short end of the stick, it seems, when it comes to healthcare. I cannot believe this is this is something that came out of the WHO. The WHO? This article is titled Women of Childbearing Age Should Be Prevented from Drinking Alcohol. The WHO. The WHO's Global Alcohol Action Plan 2022 to 2030 states that appropriate attention should be given to preventing drinking among women between the ages of 18 and 50 years of age.
Wait. The WHO really said like...
Yes.
Yes. The WHO has basically said if you're a woman and you're 18 to 50, you shouldn't drink because your role,
like at all.
Yeah.
No, yes, at all. Your role is to bear our children. This is some.
I
mean, what they mean by that is that you're decreasing your fertility, or that it's affecting fertility.
No. It's not about fertility. It's about preventing like women from drinking while they're pregnant.
So yeah, women quote of childbearing age should be prevented.
Isn't that already like pretty fucking?
Let's get into
the article.
But
Taylor,
let's get into the article here.
We can't trust women to make good decisions
That's right.
for their own bodies.
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to.
And also their friends are bad influences.
We know that.
Women, quote, of childbearing age should be prevented from drinking alcohol, according to the latest advice from the WHO. The WHO's Global Alcohol Action Plan states that appropriate attention should be given to preventing drinking among women, no matter if they're pregnant or not, between 18 and 50. The advice, which has been described as unfair and unrealistic, was published as part of a report urging countries to raise awareness about the risks associated with alcohol consumption. The draft report wants to particularly focus on how babies are affected when exposed to alcohol while still in the womb. The WHO says that in order to reduce the impacts, women, quote, not only pregnant, but of childbearing age, should be prevented from drinking alcohol. Let me just say that one more time.
I'm confused. Is this to do with it? I'm trying to wrap my head around the intention here. Is it to do with fertility, or is it to do with limiting consumption of alcohol during pregnancy?
Yeah. It's not to do with it neither. It's not to do with either. They put a focus on how alcohol can affect a baby within a womb. It has nothing to do with fertility. Right. So they're going, but they are going, if you are pregnant and you drink, that's not good for your baby. Okay. We're all pretty fucking clear on that. And maybe there are some countries that don't quite have their heads wrapped around that. But that I find kind of hard to believe. But let's just say, for the sake of the argument, that there's like a country out there that is just, actually, you know what? The Irish have no fucking clue. They're just slamming them back, and they're like, I don't care if I'm fucking pregnant. I'm going to have me pint. And the WHO is going, hey, you're pregnant, Irish lady. Fucking slow your roll. But they also, in saying that, in stressing that, they're also saying, in order to reduce impacts, women, not only pregnant, but of childbearing age, 18 to 50, should be prevented from drinking alcohol. They're literally going.
Yeah, they've got a really poor taste of vocabulary. And
this reminds me of the what was the campaign in like through the 1900s in the States about weed prohibition? What was that campaign like?
The Salem witch trials?
Reefer Madness.
Reefer Madness. Yeah, it's like how wildly crazy that. But that's that right now.
Dude, you should see me when I toke up. Yeah. I'm fucking running around the streets, buck ass naked, yelling at everybody.
But isn't that crazy? You know what though? I heard on Rogan that drinking alcohol is actually good for you too. So
yeah, I heard that on Rogan.
Well, I actually did hear that on Rogan. The report says that
you did.
The report says that, quote, appropriate attention should be given to the prevention of drinking alcohol among children and adolescents, as well as among pregnant women and women of childbearing age. The report also calls for protections for people from pressures to drink alcohol, quote, especially in societies with high levels of alcohol consumption. Here's the thing though, like, yes, high alcohol consumption is not a great thing for the human body. Mm-hmm. But to just focus this report on women because women are the child bearers, it is so mind-bogglingly
it takes
inappropriate.
Two, baby.
I mean, there should be a general campaign preventing, like, to discourage alcoholism in men and women and other folks.
Yeah,
that makes sense to me.
Yeah, they're saying functionally, like at a party, only men should be able to drink at it or whatever. Like if alcohol is being served, and just like, I don't know, for me, anytime there's a rule that only applies to women, it's fucking bullshit.
No offense though, I'd rather hang out with a room full of drunk women than a room full of drunk men. So this rule
I
seems
would probably
backwards.
pass on both.
I'm gonna say that I am inclusive, and I would be down to be in a room full of drunk anyone's. Doesn't matter
Yeah,
what
me-
your gender or your
too.
sex.
I'd pass on all three.
Yeah, no.
I'd rather hang out with a room full of high people though.
Yeah, definitely.
Yep. Yeah, sure. So yeah, the WHO really dropped the ball on that one, and I'm curious to see what comes from their big push for taking alcohol away from those pesky women from 2022 all the way through to 2030.
How well was this received again?
It wasn't. It wasn't received well. I'll give you that much.
What's the article? Like, where was the what was the article source? Was it a critique of it? Or was it just, hey, this is a press release of this thing?
I didn't write that down in the host sheet here, but
it's been pretty soundly panned.
Just imagine the person at the WHO or like the team of people who came up with this getting ready to roll it out and being like, yeah, this is a good idea, right?
Yeah.
Dude, and you know what's funny is that's
prioritizing
definitely
women.
how
This
it
is
went too, because they put it out.
Yeah.
Do you guys ready for a really gnarly segment this week
I feel like
this one's really gnarly. This week's segment of What the Hell?
Jesus Christ.
Are we done with radio?
Good job.
Radioactivity.
We're moving away from radioactivity and we are moving straight into eye injuries.
Guys,
Here we go.
Speaking of radioactivity though, because we might as well talk about it once on this episode, I got so many messages about the Secret World of Alex Mack. There's a lot of Secret World of Alex Mack fans out there.
Oh, nice.
And I went back and watched the first episode of it. And it doesn't really hold up.
Dude, speaking of radioactivity and cancer,
fucking sucked as a
I got so burnt 3 days ago, my skin still hurts.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, me too.
This is all about a poor fella who got a fish jaw right in his fucking eye hole.
What?
Nothing ruins a day at the beach quite like getting a sunburn like you did the other day, Taylor, or this is probably a little worse, like getting a fish bone stuck in your eyeball.
Wait, how?
Oh, a fish bone. Jesus.
Unfortunately, that is what happened to a beachgoer visiting the Red Sea in 2015. The 52-year-old tourist was swimming in the Red Sea when he collided with a school of fish.
Whoa.
Not long after the incident, the man developed a swollen and droopy eyelid that wouldn't heal. So this is his eyelid. It was all sorts of fucky after he went swimming.
It looks like another eye.
Yeah, he looks like he's got a little nipple growing over his eyelid there. And again, if you want to see this, you can go over to YouTube and see this really tasty photo.
Hot.
A doctor's visit revealed that he had an area of inflammation called granuloma on his eyelid. And the patient underwent surgery to correct the issue. But a granuloma wasn't the only thing that doctors removed from the eye while the swimmer's eye. What the fuck? Anyway, wasn't the only thing that they removed in surgery. They took out two tubular structures from his eyes, according to a report published by the New England Journal of Medicine in September of 2015. The doctors think that the fish jaw caused the man's eye to droop because the beaks of the fish immobilized the muscles that move the eyelid and the eyeball upward. So here's a photo of the fish jaw that they found and that they removed.
Fish.
From his fucking eye.
Sorry, dude. Wait, whoa. Wait, what are we looking at? What is that?
That's
Is that his eye?
That's
Wait,
his
what?
eye.
No.
That's his eye.
No.
Yep.
No.
And
Where's his eye though?
This is so they've split into his eyelid. Okay, so
See the eyelashes at the top, Tay?
Yeah. So yeah, those are the eyelashes. So this is an upside down photo of the guy's laying on a table. His eyelids are closed, and we're looking down at his eyelid. His eyelashes are on the top there. And these two things that are being held by prongs are the fucking jaws of a fish.
No.
Yeah.
No fucking way.
Within 3 months of the surgery, the man completely recovered and was able to move his eye and eyelid normally, said the report, which was published in September. A biologist was called in to examine these strange specimens, which turned out to be the jawbones of a half-beak, a fish that dwells in shallow coastal waters. The fish bones had immobilized the muscles controlling the man's eyelids, causing it to droop, but the droopy-eyed swimmer recovered shortly after his
How did they get in? Because like that first picture is shortly after he swam into the fish.
A couple of weeks after he started developing these issues, his eyes drooping, you can see the fucking.
There's like a swollen. It looks. Like, it could be a really bad splinter. Like if you imagine what like a really bad splinter would be, as it like enters the sort of like soft part of your skin at the top of your eyebrow.
Yeah.
And I guess like that. So it was the fish beak.
Yeah.
It was the fish beak.
Have you ever? I mean, this is way less worse than that. But like, have you ever gotten a hair stuck in your foot?
What?
Dude, Loki, I get Loki hair stuck in my foot like several times.
Especially with Loki's type of fur. Bigby had the same kind of fur. I would get Bigby's hair stuck in my foot. So what would happen is like
it's like a little needle.
And actually I think it happens a lot with barbers and like people that work at salons and stuff.
For real? I didn't know
you could step on a hair and the hair would lodge into your foot. You won't notice it when it happens. But after like 2 or 3 weeks of it being in there, you start to develop like a real irritating pain that's very acute, very localized on your foot. And when you look at it, you're like, what the fuck is that? And if you dig around, you can sometimes see the little like splinter that's in there, and it's a fucking hair, and you pull it out. When you pull it out, the pain is literally gone.
Guys, what type of soy boy skin do you have? Letting the fucking hair poke into it.
Dude,
it's like,
thick feet.
Man, it's like little needles.
It is.
They're sitting around on the floor.
Yeah.
And one is just tilted upwards and it just slides. You know when you have if you look at the bottom of your foot and you, especially on the parts of your foot that are like really like the pads that are really like worn. And show the audience there, Bri. And you can see the like waviness.
Look, he's got a giant one in his. Look at this. He's got a giant one in his foot right now.
Yeah, you can see it
all the way through there.
That's right. So you can see the folds of the like the wave of the skin. Yeah. If you it almost like it slides right underneath the layer, because those are like little wavy like layers of skin.
And then once
it just slides right underneath.
Once it slides in, it starts to slide in deeper, and it gets pushed in deeper and deeper.
I notice right away every time when I step on it. I'm like, it feels like I've stepped on something sharp. And I know immediately that it's a Loki hair.
It's sneaky for me. It happens to me, and I don't notice until like it's really irritated and red and swollen, kind of like
guys. I don't think.
And then when I go digging, it looks like that.
Yeah.
Oh God.
I grew up with dogs, and that never happened.
You don't have a short-haired dog, Brad. So
I've watched Loki for an extended period of time at your house, and
yeah, and Brian, when you shave those fucking weird pubes on your face, like I'm sure you could step on one of those and get that stuck in your
head. They're actually not long enough.
They don't need to be long, dude.
Those ones are too dry and stubby though.
Yeah.
They need to be thinner.
Maybe I'll just grease them up with some oil and then shave and then put them on the floor and step all over
Stash is looking good though, Brian. I'm digging it.
Thanks. I've been working on it.
Keep that going, especially with that style of shirt. I mean, you could probably do with getting like 2 more shirts of that same style instead of just.
You could also probably do with getting 2 new buttons and putting them on that shirt and buttoning that shirt up a little bit so I'm not looking at your nipple.
Kind of like it.
Nice
and casual.
This has been a real treat. Love that we had a little guest here on our episode. It's always a pleasure to have a guest. Listen, folks, we're so glad that you take time out of every week to listen to us, whether that be on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or the CBC Listen app. We're coming at you 3 times a week, and of course, every Friday we're here on the old YouTubes. And also. Totally not a joke, 100% real. Go to our TikTok. We have a TikTok now. We've actually been putting some really fun, silly content. We're having a lot of fun with it. So you can follow us, Sick Boy, over on TikTok.
We're making a pretty good series about Joe Brogan right now. It's pretty fun.
Yeah, we are. Lo, I know we've had a couple people reach out to us. You wanna drop some letters on us?
I'm going to drop some letters. Here we go. We're going to start with a DM from our friend Alexander on Instagram. I just wanted to say that Sick Boy and Feel Good Friday has been something I've looked forward to every week lately. Thanks for being a bright spot, sun emoji, in the week.
That's very, very sweet.
Thanks for being a Zoomer and sliding into our DMs.
Right.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Zoomers are great. Our favorite generation. Before I give a shout out to
hold on there.
We
got more.
Down boy.
Oh, sorry.
Down.
Oh, my bad. Oh, sorry. My I'm sorry.
Oh no, that's okay. We have a letter from Kylie who sent us a Gmail email.
What's up, millennial?
Hey.
Oh, good. Yeah, she's a millennial. Yeah, for sure.
Kylie writes, after listening to last week's Feel Good Friday, I thought I'd make you lose a little bit of faith in Canada. I live in Alberta, an increasingly out of control trash fire.
Hey.
Alberta is holding 3 $1 million vaccine lotteries.
Oh, shit.
Unlike what you all discussed about Manitoba's impulses for their lotteries, Alberta's are fully about a lack of uptake in vaccines.
Oof.
Alberta's promised to have, quote unquote, the greatest summer ever. I say sarcastically and quoting our government officials. Our reopening plan is based on first doses of eligible population only, 12 and up. We hit 70% of eligible first doses last week, and the announcement was made that Alberta will be open for the summer on July 1st. This means that mask mandates and all other restrictions are lifted provincially, although municipalities can choose to maintain restrictions. They're even going ahead with the Stampede. As part of the vaccine lottery, residents can even win admission to the Stampede. Meanwhile, most age groups between 12 and 34 are under 60% of first doses. Second doses are not even taken into account in Alberta's reopening plan.
That is really interesting.
Womp womp.
Yeah. I hope you all are doing well, and thank you for brightening my Fridays. P.S. Brian, The Secret World of Alex Mack was one of my favorite shows as a kid. I'm with you.
I told you guys, and that obviously a millennial.
Yeah.
Very good.
Well,
very
that is thanks Alberta for if it wasn't for you, we'd just have to be making fun of Mississippi and Alabama. So thanks for being that for us up here up north. We really love you. I mean, we do love you, but get your shit together, obviously. Before I give a shout out to how you can send us letters and all that good stuff, I do want to do a quick shout out to a great friend of mine, Nikki Martin, who just launched her second book. Comes out today, which is a Tuesday, but you're going to hear this on a Friday. Came out on the 22nd of June. It is called The Beginning's End. It's the second book in a series of hers. And I wanted to make sure that I gave her a shout out because she is a great friend of mine. She was one of my first super serious dedicated yoga students when I started teaching yoga about 10 years ago. And then she became a teacher with me at my yoga studio, and she's been a really awesome part of my life. And she's a great writer. And so you can get that if you go to NikkiPossibilities .ca or .com. It's either NikkiPossibilities.ca or .com. I can't remember.
Oh man, but you were doing so good.
It's
and
.ca.
Then you fucked it up.
Well, in fact, how are you going to get CA and com? I don't have it in front of me.
It's
NikkiPossibilities.ca. That's Nikki spelled Nikki, possibilities.ca.
And definitely don't go to NikkiPossibilities.io. That's NICKY possibilities.io because that is not anything you want to look at. I can tell you.
If you go to our website, you can find out where you can buy it, which is like Barnes & Noble, Amazon, all those places. I really do hope you go and check it out and check out what the series is all about. It's really cool. And if you want to send us a letter and tell us all about how your favorite or least favorite province in Canada is doing with their reopening plan, you can do that by going to letters@sickboypodcast.com. And if you want to be a guest on our show, go to sickboypodcast.com/contact, fill out the form, and maybe we'll have you on the show.
Thank you so much to the people who make this show happen. A huge shout out to Lauren Sankey, Taylor McGilvery, Jeremy Saunders. I love you all, and I'm so happy to be able to do this with you. A huge thank you to Donovan Morgan, who stopped by today. That was really great. Thank you to Jeff Lonis, who is the manager of the show, and Rich O'Coin, who does the theme music. Jared, keep licking like that. I really, 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 really like that, and I'm grateful.
Yeah, me too.
For everybody.
Yeah.
Well, that is it for this week, folks.
I'm Brian.
I'm Taylor.
I'm Lauren.
And I'm Jeremy, and this is Sick Boy.